This week on World Stories. Greece, the taxman cometh. Russia, the abortion debate. But we begin this week in Hawaii. Far out in the Pacific, the US islands are within range of North Korean missiles. We met one woman who knows only too well what an attack would mean for everybody there.
She hopes it will never happen again. Not here in Hawaii or anywhere else. Mitsuko Haidka lives on the island of Oahu now, but 72 years ago, she was in Hiroshima.
I think being a survivor is more scary than you get burned the next day you die or something like that.
Why?
Yeah. Because there's nothing left after. Then we have to struggle to live there. You have to keep going, right?
Haidka was 10 years old when the nuclear attack against Japan. On August 6, 1945, she was on a train going to school in the countryside. Her family was in Hiroshima. Haidka would never forget what she witnessed when she and her fellow students tried to get back home.
Pretty soon we see people coming out from Hiroshima, all burned, and skins are coming, from face and arms, and they don't have a clothes on, all the burned clothes, and we don't know woman or man even, and they keep coming, and they say, "Oh, I want water," but we don't have no water.
Her mother disappeared that day. Her father later died of cancer.
We almost go Alaska.
Mitsuko Haidka says she never thought she and her family would face another nuclear attack.
He asked me.
Now she is scared.
They say, take care, prepare for the 15 minutes warning. What are you going to do? We don't have no building close by. So that's it, yeah. So there's no time for us to prepare. And so it's really scary.
Mitsuko Haidka says she doesn't want anyone to go through what she did. It's something that should never happen again.
To Germany now. It's been 25 years since racist mobs attacked asylum seekers and Vietnamese workers in the northern city of Rostock. Armed with petrol bombs, rioters spent 4 days waging terror on the city's foreigners. We went to Rostock to find out how things are today.
25 years ago, Rostock's Central Reception Center for Asylum Seekers was located here. The agency was overwhelmed, unable to provide supplies or sanitation facilities for hundreds of Roma and Sinti camped out here for weeks. The area soon became littered with human waste. The government failed to react to residents' complaints about the desperate situation. I still ask myself, how could they open a reception center for asylum seekers here? It was kind of a rough area back then. And the government were okay with it, despite the calls for help. On the evening of August 22, 1992, residents took matters into their own hands. Police presence was minimal, and when officers themselves were attacked, they retreated. Only once night fell did the police bolster its forces with water cannon. On the next day, the perpetrators got help from right-wing extremists who had traveled from across Germany to Rostock. People applauded when Molotov cocktails were thrown at the building. The asylum seekers' home was evacuated, but the building next door, which housed 120 Vietnamese, was not. On the third night, the police retreated. More incendiary devices were thrown, and Wolfgang Richter, a television crew, and the Vietnamese, including children, were trapped inside the building. It became clear that we'd have to help ourselves, as we couldn't count on the police to help quickly. We barricaded the stairwells. We stopped the elevator. The roof would have been the only way out, but it was secured with steel doors.
Der war übers Dach irgendwie aufzubekommen und der war sehr gut mit 2 Stahltüren gesichert.
Mai Poang Kolat lived here in Rostock at the time. Unlike other Vietnamese who were affected, she refuses to remain silent. Until then, I didn't think Germans were capable of something like this. What happened back then was attempted murder. The police, who were actually supposed to protect us, failed us. This will definitely never happen again, I believe, because we have learned something from this after 25 years. And not just as citizens, but also all institutions, administrations, police. It's a completely different structure. Something like this will never happen again. Exactly these kinds of pogroms going on for days. This sort of thing just won't happen. Ralf Mucha, the Social Democrat Local Advisory Council, also feels it can't happen again. He'll attend the unveiling of 5 memorial plaques. The one in front of the building that had been under attack will show one of the stones that was thrown back then.
A Russian pro-life group claims it has 1 million signatures in support of banning abortion in the country, and it has prominent support. One of the signatories is the head of Russia's Orthodox Church. The group's leaders are urging President Vladimir Putin to take action.
A prayer for Russia's unborn children. Activists are praying for an end to abortions in their country, for a full ban. Their movement is called Za Жизнь, for life. It includes around 160 pro-life groups from across Russia. The prayer is part of the group's annual festival for the protection of family values. The activists here in Moscow believe that a child's life begins at conception. For Life has now collected 1 million signatures in favor of an abortion ban. And with the growing influence of the Orthodox Church on Russian politics, the issue isn't going away. Laws surrounding the procedure have been tightened in recent years, and politicians have debated excluding it from state-funded health care. Last week, the government announced the launch of an advertising campaign to discourage abortions. For Life says there are currently hundreds of groups campaigning against abortion in Russia. Their volunteers have been collecting signatures for 4 years now. The movement also does charity work, providing support and shelter for women who decide to give birth. Still, its members believe the government should not give women a choice at all. We could just as well say, let's get rid of the law against murder and let that be each person's individual choice. We understand that when there is a law, that convinces people and it disciplines people. That's why we think there needs to be legislation banning abortion. Reproductive health expert Lyubov Yerafeeva believes turning the public against abortion won't increase Russia's birth rate. Statistics from all around the world prove that the two sets of data aren't connected. Banning abortions will not stop people from having them. Women will simply be forced to seek abortions underground. Russia's pro-life movement may still be a small minority, but its activists are dedicated and their convictions are an article of faith.
Nothing in this world is certain except for death and taxes. Unless, that is, you live in Greece. There, tax evasion is something of a national sport. It's estimated the state loses billions in revenue every year. But this just might be about to change.
As the sun sets in Athens, a night patrol begins in the downtown district of Plaka. 2 inspectors, Tina Pauiti and Nikos Tsipenekos, are on the lookout for tax dodgers, and they're homing in on this cocktail bar. She notices there are no bills on the tables. It seems the owner is selling his drinks off the books.
Good evening. We're officers from the tax department. Could you please give me a bill for 10 cents?
Each bill lists how many receipts have been issued that day. It's an important clue for the inspectors, since many customers simply don't get a bill. And with sales tax at 24%, it's tempting for owners to simply pocket the cash.
No, that's not a bill, just an order.
You have 32 bills for the entire day?
Let's have a closer look around.
This is the second time the owner of this bar has been caught, so his fine is doubled to 500 euros. He doesn't want to speak on camera. The next day, a visit to an antique dealer in central Athens. A Greek TV crew is waiting here for the tax officials to arrive. A new law allows authorities to close down businesses of reoffenders and expose them in the media. It's all part of a new crackdown on tax dodgers. Greeks earn more than 10 billion euros in undeclared income every year. Antique dealer Irina Safela has been found guilty of just a few hundred euros. For small business owners in Greece, life is hell. Some days we sell nothing at all. We don't earn a single euro. But we pay high taxes, and then there are all the fines. It's a huge problem. Her premises are sealed shut. Now customers know she hasn't been paying taxes.
This is the best thing that we can do to pursue them to be correct and don't violate the law. It's something that they're afraid of because the fines are really not so big that I was telling you about. But when they close them for 48 hours, it's something that it's bad for their business.
The two tax inspectors say they do care, and they're well aware that there's always a personal story behind the paperwork. On the other hand, the situation is staggering. 1 in 3 business owners is not paying taxes. The government says that has to change.